Welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel for today, Wednesday, the 27th of September. Today, video primarily centering around several stories regarding new contracts for Celtic players, with one confirmed, one said to be very much on the verge of signing his deal in the next day or two, and a couple of other players apparently being lined up for new contracts also. Also today, just going to give a quick update on yesterday's poll regarding which goalkeeper Celtic should go for to replace Joe Hart when he is serving his red card ban against Motherwell at the weekend, and also a couple of comments from yourselves with regards to the options for replacing Hart for the next match, and potentially longer term options for a new goalkeeper for Celtic. Before we get going with the video, as always, do, if you can, click the like button for the video, and also clicking the subscribe button to get the subscriber numbers up to target number 2, which will help in the long-term progress and success for this project. So, as I said, one confirmed deal. Anthony Ralston, our backup right back, has signed a new 4-year deal with Celtic, taking him up to 2027. I think he is a good squad player. I think in terms of Scottish fixtures, he is a perfectly good deputy for Alistair Johnston. I do worry that Ralston probably isn't up to it in terms of playing in Europe as the right back, but in terms of your bog standard matches in Scotland, Ralston is a perfectly good deputy if Johnston is away on international duty or is injured or suspended. Ralston is a good clubman. He's been at Celtic for absolutely ages, and for that reason he also helps with the current European criteria for squad players being homegrown or home trained. Reo Hatate apparently is just about to pen an extension at Celtic. He had asked for any contract talks to be postponed until after the transfer window. It appears right after the transfer window shut, Celtic and Hatate and his agents got back into negotiations. And news coming out of Celtic today is that Hatate is just about to sign his contract extension, and for his weekly basic salary to be increased. There are different quoted levels as to what his current salary is, with one site saying £12,000 a week and another saying £20,000 a week. At £12,000 per week, he would be kind of in the lower middle part of the wage range for Celtic's first team squad, whilst at 20 he would be up there at level at in 4th place, behind Cal McGregor, who is Celtic's highest paid player, followed by Kyogo, and then CCV, who had quite a significant upgrade in his weekly wages when he signed his permanent deal last summer. So I expect that the deal for Hatate will be to go extended to 2027, and probably bring him in line with CCV or Kyogo in second, third place. I think Hatate would be an excellent player for us to have at Celtic for another few years. He would thus be really having most of his best years at Celtic, and the contract ending in 2027 would allow him probably one big further transfer to England or to one of the other European bigger leagues. And so I think it works out well both for Celtic and for Hatate. I think one of the keys for Celtic over the next 2 or 3 years, as part of Rodgers' supposed 3-year plan, is for us to keep hold of people such as Kyogo, CCV, Dyson Maida, Abada, O'Reilly, and Hatate, so that we get continuity to continue excelling in Scotland and gaining further and further in terms of Europe. Obviously, also, the better and better Celtic do in Europe, the more prestige the club gets, and also that then attracts other players who come to Celtic that may not have felt Celtic were a big enough or was more prestigious enough club to come to. Such was thought to be the case with Fabian Rieder, Daniel Podence, Ryan Fraser, and Dominik Livakovic during the recent transfer window, where all those players were scouted and courted by Celtic, but all of them apparently did not feel Celtic, or primarily the Scottish League, was a big enough league for them to a big enough league, and decided to stay in England or move to a league they perceived as being more prestigious. Next in line, once Hatate is signed, will be extending and increasing Matt O'Reilly's contract. And I think it's very likely Celtic will extend O'Reilly to 2027 and bring him in line with the top two or three of Celtic's highest wage earners. At the moment, it would be reasonable to say that Matt O'Reilly is Celtic's best player. He's had an excellent start to the season, and at the moment would be odds-on favourite for Celtic Player of the Year and Players Player and Journalist Player of the Year for Scotland. It's very likely there'll be quite a lot of teams looking to sign him in the winter transfer window, and I think Celtic should do absolutely everything to keep hold of him and slap a price tag similar to Kieran Tierney or Jota at the 25 million or more mark to ward off anybody looking to sign him. Quite a lot of speculation that Celtic would then look to extend Cameron Carter-Vickers' contract. As I was saying earlier on, the indications are when he signed last summer on his permanent deal, which gives him at Celtic to 2026. He was already installed at number 2 in terms of the wage structure and has subsequently been overtaken by Kyogo. And expect that with the new contract, Hatate on O'Reilly, assuming O'Reilly does choose to sign his new contract, he would then be probably on a par with those two, just behind Kyogo. I think probably given CCV's rather rocky injury record, probably Celtic should keep things as they are this season, and if things settle down and improve in terms of CCV's injury problems and he gets back into full first team football and reliable week in, week out, then I think an extension of his contract in the summer 2024 would be a good option. The other player I think Celtic should go all out to sign an extension would be Rocco Vata. I think he is a player who's going to turn into a very good player. There were teams courting him for transfer from England, such as Notts Forest and from Italy, and it would be a big shame to lose him for a compensation fee only, as was the case for Ben Doak when we lost him to Liverpool last year for an absolute tiny fraction of what he's worth. Finally, Celtic do have a couple of players whose contract is up at the end of this season, who are currently first-team players, who are Joe Hart and David Turnbull. It's unclear whether Joe Hart would want to stay at Celtic for another couple of years as more of a backup, as that was part of the reason that he moved on from Man City and from Tottenham. But I do think Celtic will be signing a new, younger, better goalkeeper, most likely Kevin Kelleher, either this winter transfer window or possibly more likely summer transfer window 2024. I think Hart would be a good option to stay as backup, although I would prefer a young Scottish goalkeeper to take that role instead. And there are a number of very promising younger keepers playing in Championship football in Scotland and England and playing in Europe that may be options for Celtic. And that also would help with the UEFA quotas in terms of Scottish players and homegrown, home-trained players as well. David Turnbull, I'm not so certain about. Rodgers does seem particularly keen on Turnbull, and so I think that it's likely that he will be signed by Celtic on an extension, assuming that Turnbull has not decided, a la Ryan Christie, to try his trade in England instead, and letting his contract run down as Ryan Christie did do. Last thing to talk about today is yesterday I popped a poll in the community section to see what your preferences were in choosing either Siegrist or Scott Bain to replace Joe Hart against Motherwell when Hart is serving his one-match ban. Overwhelmingly, you have gone for Siegrist by 87.5% to 12.5%, and all the comments with the video and with the poll very much are suggesting that of the two options, Siegrist is by far the better goalkeeper, and very, very strongly you are saying Rodgers should pick Siegrist, not Hart, not Bain for that game. I do think, however, given the fact that Scott Bain is in the European squad and Siegrist has been left out due to the UEFA quota systems, that Scott Bain will be the one that starts against Motherwell, simply to give him some match practice, just in case he has to come on for Hart against Lazio or Madrid due to red cards or injuries, etc. All I would say is, whenever the ball gets any near the goal and Scott Bain's in goal, I'm scared there's going to be some kind of error, bungling mix-up between Bain and the defenders, and it has to be remembered Bain's one game last season, giving Joe Hart a rest, was a rather awful performance, losing 4 goals at Hibs towards the end of Ange Postecoglou's time at Celtic. If Bain is in goals on Saturday against Motherwell, obviously I will support him wholeheartedly and wish him luck, but will still remain rather nervous if Motherwell get anywhere near Celtic's goal. just about finishes things off for today. Please, if you can, like and subscribe. Do have a wee go at the quiz question. It'll be popping into the community section just after I finish this video, and the poll regarding Siegrist or Bain for the Motherwell match will remain open if there are others who wish to give a vote or a comment on that. So for today, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, goodbye, speak again tomorrow, and hail, hail.